My name is Micah Brown. I am the creator of Skyclad Scroll Art, and this is my first tutorial. I wanted to keep this very simple. Turntables are a lot of fun. When I went to animation school, we used to make turntables of a lot of our art to display it, and it's also fun for music videos and a whole bunch of other things. So first off, let's open up Blender. And you know, when you first come to Blender, you have all these options. You can just click off to the side. You don't even have to worry about it. The most common thing that people do is they delete the cube. So we're gonna do that. Just hit delete on your keyboard and it is gone. Hit Shift A, and we're gonna start off with maybe making that little monkey Suzanne head. So there she is. One of the things, if you notice, she's very pixelated. So you can right mouse click and you can hit Shade Smooth to smooth her out. If you notice, she still looks kind of choppy. So you have these little modifiers over here to the right side. It looks like a little wrench. Just click that. Go to Add Modifier and Subdivision Surface. Just click that once and look at that. She looks a lot better. You can even increase the viewport levels, but if you want to make it a little more fun, just go back to 1 and then add another modifier and add a wireframe. Look at that. It's really fun. It just, especially when you have some really nice volumetric lighting, you can have light rays shining through it. Just so much fun. All right, so click on Suzanne, and there's a bunch of ways of moving her. You can click this little gimbal right here, so you can, you know, grab these little handles and move her around. I find that the easiest way to do it is keyboard shortcuts, or if you click on this little object properties button, you can click and drag these little values around. And I actually like that better because that way you can just type in to kind of make your transformations a lot cleaner. So that's normally how I move things around in there. Okay, so now that we have our Suzanne wireframe, let's get our camera set up. So your camera is over here to the side, and if you notice that the camera is always set up at an angle in Blender by default. So the very first thing I usually will do is click on my camera and I zero out all the properties. So I just click, drag down, and then zero them out. And I do the same for the rotation. So click, drag, and then hit 0 on your number pad. And that gets everything into a 0 state. So if you rotate, look at that. If you rotate on the x-axis to 90 degrees, you have a perfectly aligned camera for your model. So if you hit 0 on the number pad, look at that. You can see that it's lined up perfectly straight. But we want it to be level with Suzanne and put her right in the middle of the screen. So if you just click and drag in the Z, look at that. Puts her right where you need her to be. Okay, so we got our camera done. Just click out of that and I can move around. So our very first step that we want to do is hit Shift A on the keyboard, and we're going to create a curve. And we want this circle curve, which is the second one on the list. So you just click that, and then we're going to hit S on the keyboard, and we're just going to pull it out, just like that. And if you notice, I want it to be lined up with this tip right here. So we can just take these scales right about there, and we'll lift it up a little bit. And if you notice, I'm using the handles on this, so you can, whatever is just easiest for the moment, just do that. All right, and then I want to smooth out this circle because it's a little choppy, so let's just come in, add a subdivision surface, maybe twice on that, so it's nice and clean. Probably doesn't do anything performance-wise, but I like it. It looks good. All right, so once we have that, we're gonna make one more circle for the rotational movement. This is just gonna go 360 around the head, but I want that other one to kind of move around the head in the y-axis. So we're gonna click on the camera. You see how you have this little origin point right here? I want it to be right behind the camera. So we're gonna hit Shift S, and we're gonna say cursor to selected. If you notice, it put that little cursor right behind the camera. The reason that's important is because when we create this new circle, which is Shift A, circle, look at that, puts it right behind it, right where we need it. That's just fantastic. I love that little cursor. I used to hate it when I first came from Maya, but now I've learned to love it. All right, so once you have that, on this rotation, we want to move this in the X just like that, 90 degrees. There we go, hit enter on that. The next thing that we want to do, I got this locked right here. There we go. The next thing that we want to do is we want to clear out these properties. So if you just hit Control A, and then we want to apply the rotations. Now watch what happens on the right side when I click this. It zeroes it out. So this is always important when you're doing animation, that you want to clear out any of these properties. It just makes your life a lot easier. So once you have that done, now it comes to parenting the camera to these controllers. Very easy. All you have to do, click the camera first, and then you shift click the circle. Once you do that, hit Control P, and then you can parent the object. So now that we've done that, when you click this, you know it works when you move it. There you go, it's connected. And the next step is we're gonna take the parent, that circle, and we're gonna parent it to this real big circle here. So we're gonna hit Control P again. And there we go. So now when we go in the rotation of the Z, we've got a full rig moving around Suzanne. So I'm gonna clear that out. And then here we go. We're gonna make our animation. So with this first Bezier circle, we can just, you can rename it if you want to. We can call this master controller, just like that. Oops, I think I spelled that wrong. There we go, master controller. And then we have this one right here. By the way, little trick, when you select something and you don't see it in here, you can hit the period key on your 10 key and it will show you whatever item you have selected. And now we can go in and just say F2 on our keyboard. Let's see, let's try this as secondary controller. There we go, there's our secondary controller. So it always helps to keep things organized. For a small project like this, you know, just going in could be a waste of time for, you know, something very quick like this, but it always helps to get in the practice of doing it. Okay, so first off, let's take our master controller, and under this rotation tab, we want to hit this little animate property button. So you just click that. If you notice what happens, it turns yellow. That means that we have a keyframe down here in our timeline. So the next step that we want to do is we want to go to frame 251. So we're going to hit 360, which is a full circle. Now watch what happens. When we hit 0 on our number pad, it goes into our camera. When we hit play, it starts to rotate. Now, if you notice, it has an ease in and an ease out. We do not want that. So what we want to do is just click and drag, so you grab both of these keyframes, and then hit T on your keyboard. This will bring up your set keyframe interpolation menu. And all you have to do is just click linear. Now when you play it, it's going to be a constant speed, and it will give you a really nice seamless look. And look at here, no slowdown. Beautiful. All right. So for our secondary camera, we're just going to move our camera around so we get out of the camera view. Click on the secondary, make sure you're on frame 1, and then for this one, we're going to go in the X direction. And with this being selected, if you notice, here's this green. Green is your Y. So the Y is the one that we want. X is going to go up and down. We don't want that. And I think I might have said X, but yeah, we want to animate this on the Y. So for the very first keyframe on frame 1, we're just going to hit our keyframe. Now we go to 251 and hit 360. Boom, done. And then once again, select, drag, hit T on your keyboard, linear. And now if we hit 0 on our number pad and hit the space bar to play, we will have a really trippy kind of rotation animation. And this is unlimited. I mean, you can do anything that you want with this. If you want Suzanne to kind of follow the motion, you can even, let's keyframe her. So if you just click here, go to frame 251, 360, go, and then we're gonna hit T again to make it linear. Now watch what happens. She'll follow the camera, but the background is still spinning and moving, but she's locked on and will always look at the camera on the front facing. So if you're doing like a music video and you want to have some really trippy stuff, this would be a really cool way to do that. For a little bonus tip, let me show you how to slap on a very quick texture. So if you click down here in the little corner here, I don't know what you call it, but you can click and drag and open up a new window. And up in this little tab here, you can click here and go to Shader Editor. And then with Suzanne selected, just hit this little new button. You have what's called the Node Wrangler. So edit preferences, come in here to your add-ons. And then if you just type in node, you'll see that there is a Node Wrangler here. And this opens up a whole bunch of different options when you're using the shader editor. So you just hit Control T with this BSDF selected, Control T, and this will basically allow you to add it's like a nice setup for adding an image texture. So just hit open, and I'm gonna find a texture here. The really awesome thing about Blender is that you can use video as textures. So let me come into my art here, go to animations, and let's just grab here this little squirrel trip animation here. Now if you notice, when I added that, we don't see anything, and that's because we need to go to this little shader icon right here. So just click that, and now you can see that we have a texture on here, and we can zoom in here. But this is a video, so how do you get the video to work? Well, to do that, all you have to do is just hit N on your keyboard, which that was already open. And when you come here to the node here, with this selected, under the Properties tab, if you notice there's this little frame button with a refresh. And it says Match Movie Length. Just click that, and if you notice, it puts in the correct frame amount. And then all you have to do is just hit Cyclic and auto refresh. And now when we hit play, if you notice, it starts to cycle through all the colors from that video. So you can throw in any video in Maya and use it as a texture. And if you make those videos seamless in After Effects or DaVinci Resolve, and you use those as textures, then you have a perfectly seamless texture with no popping. And I can show on another video show how to make seamless videos like that. One last tip to make it even cooler: take this same video and then drag it right into the emission, just like that. And you can bump up the emissions on these to something like 10 and get like a really nice glow effect. That might be too high, maybe it's like 2. And there we go. Now if you notice, it's not really glowing and we can't really see the glow. So if you click here on this world properties and maybe move this to black, let's get rid of our controllers. I'm just gonna hide these so we can see what's going on. Under the camera or the render properties, click this little button, bloom, and you can move the intensity of bloom. You can change the thresholds and just play around with it until you find something that you like. And that's what makes it a lot of fun. You can pretty much do anything you want to do in this. Hopefully this gives you a little inspiration. Have fun with it, and always remember to play and experiment. That's how you learn. Thanks so much.